DIYer behind LemonThistle.com. Today I am excited to be back with another Silhouette versus Cricut challenge. For this week's Silhouette versus Cricut challenge, we are taking on how to cut any image with your Silhouette or Cricut and how to import your own files into the design software. We're talking different file types, how to get lettering or pictures that you have created on paper into your software to cut them out, and a couple different techniques to do that. We'll walk you through the process in both the Cricut Design Space software and the Silhouette software. This goes for things you've drawn yourself or for files that you have downloaded from other blogs or websites. Be sure to watch both of our videos whether you are a Cricut or Silhouette user. We will be answering the questions that we get the most often. Do I need an iPad? Do I need a scanner? Do I need to use Photoshop? And we'll be giving you lots of tips and ideas on how to use your own images and designs for beautiful cut files and projects. I'm joining up with Alexis from Persia Lou for another video where we take on different materials or tasks that we both do with our Cricut and with our Silhouette. I am Team Cricut, and for all these tutorials I'm using my Cricut Maker and the Cricut software Design Space. This is my favorite way to use my Cricut. I love to take my hand lettering and to put it on every surface in every way. I use my own files as often as possible. That's probably 90% of what I do with my Cricut. So for me, this is a really great tutorial. This is what I love to do. And if you are a hand letterer, then this tutorial will be great for you. Before we get started, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I would so love if you did that below so you don't miss out on any more DIY or home decor videos. Today we're taking on how to cut any image with your machine. I'm going to walk you through the software Design Space that I use with Cricut, and I'm going to talk about SVG files, JPEGs, and PNG images. I'm going to talk how you can upload your own files, how to use printable files from other people's blogs, and I'm going to talk about how to use your own lettering or drawn designs in Cricut Design Space. Do you need a scanner? Do you need an iPad? Do you need Photoshop? I'm going to answer all those questions, so let's get started. Right off the bat, I will tell you this. Cricut Design Space is a very user-friendly software. It is simplified. I find it's very intuitive, very easy to use. But because of that, if there's something really tricky that you want to do, or if you're like a power user and you already use Photoshop and you already know a lot of those things, you probably want to do your designs in Photoshop and then import them into Design Space as is. That's what I prefer to do, but Design Space itself can do a lot of the work for you, and I would say that 99% of the time you don't actually need a different software if you don't want to. So once you get to this page, this design.cricut.com, you can go in and make a new canvas. A canvas is just your workspace or your project, and you can save these and you can come back to it later. So I opened up a new one, and from here you'll see images, upload, and shapes. And now these are three different things that you can use to get images onto your canvas. Images is all the ones that are available through Cricut. The other one that I want to point you to is shapes. It just kind of comes with 4 or 5 different ones. And then lastly, upload is what we're going to focus on today. This is how you get your own images into the Cricut Design software. So what kind of image do you need to get into the Cricut Design software? There are 3 different types that I recommend you using, and those are SVG files, JPEGs, and PNG images. So just right off the top, SVG images are the perfect kind of cut file. They are what you would get if you buy cut images. They are vector images that are scalable, and those are the easiest to load in. Those have the most options for you to change things once they're in Cricut Design Space. And then you also have PNG images. PNG images can have a translucent background, so that's really great if you want to upload a design that's already ready for you and you want to do it all in one color. And then lastly, JPEG images have a solid colored background, so those are really great for print and then cut images, or if you want to do a little bit more tweaking in your design space, then you can use JPEGs as well. If you could choose, I would choose either an SVG or a PNG. So let's look at the SVG images first. To upload your own image of any kind, you'll want to choose that little cloud with the arrow that says upload. From here, you'll see that there's 2 different options. There's upload a cut image and upload a pattern fill. So I almost always use the upload the cut image. I even do that when I want to use it as a pattern fill, and I'll show you how I do that after. But to upload a cut image, you click that, you browse and find your image. So the first one I'm going to do is an SVG image. The SVG is the most straightforward to upload into Cricut Design Space. So you just click upload and you can add a name to it and you insert it. It's very straightforward. So you'll see when this comes in, you can turn it around, you can resize it, and it seems like one image, but you'll see on the layers here that there's actually 3 different pieces to this. Each individual piece is a separate element. So even though it looks like that's gonna cut as one piece, when you go over and click make it, you'll see that it ungroups and it kind of moves around the mat. And if there's more than one color, you'll see it cuts on 2 different mats. You can change it all to one color and then you think, great, it's gonna cut all in one piece. But nope, the pieces jump around. That is unique of an SVG image. And what that is those are different pieces. So to select the whole thing, and then you can click attach, and it will attach all those pieces together so that when you click make it, it will stay as one piece on the mat. Why I like to hit attach instead of weld is because you can unattach and you can make changes. If you hit weld, then that becomes one permanent piece and you can't unweld it at some point and make the rows bigger and the leaves smaller or whatever. Because it is individual pieces, you can go and make every single piece of your image a different color and have those go onto separate mats without any fuss really. Okay, so the second type of image is a PNG image. This is what I most commonly put on my blog as a free download. And why I really like this is because when you upload it and put it in, it stays as one piece. So what's different about uploading? You still go and you upload under the cut image, so not the pattern. And once you do that, you'll have a few more steps to go before you can insert it onto your project. So after you select your image, you're going to be prompted with choosing if it is a simple or if it's a complex image. If you're doing just a black pattern, a solid color like this on a translucent background, you're going to want to click simple image. So for example, this one here, I just lettered on my iPad Pro and I exported it without a background. If you can export from your iPad, say, with no background, so a translucent background, this is the most simple way that you will be able to upload your own lettering or your own design into Cricut Design Space. When you hit continue, you will be prompted to select and erase any area that you want to do away with. Now, since this already has the whole background erased, I don't need to do anything here. You click next, and then you can choose to either save it as a print then cut image or just as a cut image. I'm just going to do a cut image. That's all that I want to do with this piece is to cut it out. I don't want to print the black ink on and then cut it out. That would just be a waste. So then I can insert it in and resize it. And you'll see it kind of behaves the same, but over in the layers tab, you will see that there is only one layer here. So each letter isn't pulling into its individual layers. And when I hit make it, it's already grouped together in the right format so that when I weed it, I can put my transfer tape on and it will go on in the exact layout that I had in mind. That's why I like PNG images. Even though you can't do as many changes once you're into Design Space, it is so basic and straightforward to get it just cut out. Okay, the third type of image that I want to show you is JPEGs. So there's a couple different ways that you can use JPEG images. The first is a print then cut image. So I just drew this on my iPad Pro again, and I have just a solid gray background around the shape that I want to cut out. So you can choose moderately complex or you can choose complex. I chose complex. So you go through and you can erase, and I erase just by using that magic wand tool, and I clicked the gray background. You can save as a print then cut or as a cut image. And you can see that the outline is really clean on that cut image. That's how you can tell that you've erased what you need to erase. JPEG images, just like PNG images, all import as one single layer. So they're really easy to move around, size up and down, and when you hit make it, it will go on its print then cut mat.
Printable vinyl is so fun to play around with. That's what I'm using here. If you'd like to learn more about that, we have a whole video on just how to use printable vinyl with your Cricut and with your Silhouette. I'll put the link for that down below as well.
So in our last Silhouette versus Cricut video, I used this watercolor pattern, which is a JPEG image that I uploaded, and I cut my daughter's name out of it using the slice tool. So I'm going to do that again with this heart. So you make sure you select both layers, the patterned one and the shape, and then after you hit slice, it'll cut it out. So why I like this is I can kind of move my shape around and resize the pattern, and I can get exactly the pattern pieces that I want in there. So if I want to really focus on one flower or another, I can make sure that that heart is over top of it. This is what the upload a pattern fill does as well. So I'm going to upload another one of these floral watercolor backgrounds. So I'm going to upload this one as a pattern instead of as a print then cut file. So I go in, everything is kind of the same except you have to add tags in, and you will notice that it's not showing up in your recently uploaded images. And that is because you need to go in and put your shape in. So you could do another shape that you have uploaded, or you can use just a basic shape. I will do a heart here just to make it simple. And then in your layers tab, if you click on it and go to print, instead of choosing a basic color, you can choose patterns. And when you click patterns, your uploaded pattern fill images will show up in this tab. Now, it doesn't give you the option how to resize those and kind of turn the pattern around. So that's why in general, I like to do it as a slice result. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is if you have something that you have drawn or lettered on paper that you want to cut out with your Cricut. So you could scan this in, and scanning in will of course give you way better quality. But if you just want to go from your phone, I just took a picture with my iPhone and I moved it over to my computer. So that's what I'm working with here. And then you will want to upload it and put simple image, even though that seems like it's not a simple image, because that will simplify the colors to make it a lot easier to delete the parts that you don't want. So first I just cropped out the area that was not part of my lettering, and then I went back to that magic wand tool and I erased the background. So once I've erased the background, it looks okay. You can see this gray edge, but if you hit preview, you'll see what it would cut like. And so you can see that gray edge kind of disappears. So there is a few kind of random little bits over here that you can erase. So if you go back to your erase tool, you can erase those. And then once you're happy with what it looks like, go back to preview again, and you can kind of toggle back and forth between preview and eraser just until you've got all the little bits off that you want. And so it's a little bit finicky, but it's not bad, all considering that this just came straight off your phone. I mean, that's a pretty simple way to get something in here. Now, I usually do this in Photoshop just so I have the file also in a PNG on my computer so I can also print it off. I like to digitize it in one go and then upload it as an image. But if you don't use Photoshop, or you're not competent or confident in it, or if you don't want to pay for Photoshop, that's totally understandable. I would just do it this way. So the other thing that you can do, if you like, so you go back to preview, see how it's solid cut letters? If you really like the brushy look, you can go back to this and you can kind of erase some of those pieces if you want to. That erased quite a bit, so I'm going to go undo, and you can go into the advanced options here and you can bring your color tolerance way down, and you can say, I only want to do like 2. And then when you erase that, it'll give you a lot less, which is cool for the brushy look.
If you are comfortable with Photoshop, I do have a whole tutorial on how to digitize your lettering using Photoshop for Cut with Cricut, and I will link that down in the description below here.
All right, so once you have cut these out of your vinyl or whatever material you're using, if it's print then cut, then once you've printed it and then cut it out, then you can stick it on your projects, and you now have your own designs on projects, which I think is pretty rad. So I really love the Cricut Design Space software. I find that it does everything that I need to. Again, it allows me to use my own lettering, it allows me to use my own patterns, it allows me to do all those things that I would love to do. Make sure to hop over and check out Alexis's video. She is covering all the same things using Silhouette. We really hope that you're enjoying this series. If you do have any questions for us or topics that you would like us to cover, you can drop those in the comments below and we will do our best to add those to the list and get to them eventually. To find the rest of the videos in this series, we put them all in a playlist for you so you can check that out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love if you hit that thumbs up button below and subscribe so you don't miss out. Subscribed? So you don't miss out on any more DIY or decor videos. See you next time.